Hey, good evening. Call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Has the board had a chance to review our minutes?
Yes, we have, and I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
They are approved. Department heads and committees. Roger, we have you. You are up.
Good evening. I guess we're still following the same agenda where it's kind of open, and I have an open discussion, and I'm of course going to start with some snow and ice updates. Can you believe we already had 7 events since the last time I was here, and it seems like it was just a week ago, but I guess it was 4. Those 7 events added up to a pretty good dollar sign, about $66,000 that added to our already sore budget. So it's around $177,000 is about where we're at now. We're still under $100,000 last year, but we got some time to go yet. And you know what? We got something coming tonight, which isn't. We don't believe it's going to be a real killer. I've had my meteorologist that works for us, or where we can call, say it's anywhere from a 16 to 20-hour storm, and we're right on that 6-inch line there, which is well within our capabilities. I mean, we have all of our trucks going again, but I don't want to belabor the point. Some of them are really tired. Last night, one of them, we pulled out, it's really we want it to be our spare when we get our new truck, which I hope will be before the end of this month. It sounded like it had gravel in its transmission, and we got it back together again, but we do need to look at fixing, I mean, not fixing, but replacing some of those trucks, and that's a subject for another day. The real scary point is, I guess, the Sunday one. There are some models that indicate that we would be measuring our snow in feet instead of inches. But the guy says it's way too early to get panicky about that, but he says there are models that say that. I think since we have this opportunity, I've talked with the chairman, and we're just to advertise a little bit publicly that the transfer station will be closed tomorrow. The storm is pretty much going to be hitting right at the daybreak, and that's when it's going to have the peak of the snow. So I think it's a very prudent thing to do. The last time we only had one person come by that didn't get the message, and we kind of got our word out late. We've got advertisements on a fence and on our website, so we did a better job of advertising this issue this time. So hopefully it will be, no one will be disappointed. Tonight I kind of chose to kind of not enlighten, but to I guess update is the better word. What we do in Park and Grounds Division of our Highway Department a little bit. I know you all know that we're out there and we've got a lot of fields, but sometimes do you realize we've got 12 ball fields? Do you realize we've got 6 soccer and lacrosse fields, 2 football fields, and of course 4 schools? That makes up 88 acres. 88 or 90 acres of cutting. The fields need to be cut pretty much every week. And if you listen to the leagues, they want you to cut them every Thursday and Friday so that their fields are nice and short for play. That's the reason why we have the number of equipment we have, and we need the labor to put in that equipment to make sure we just go in and knock those particular fields out and get out of there. There's a whole bunch of variables that will affect the way we're able to proceed. I mean, if you get rain, then we can't cut it. We have to wait till it dries out a little bit. If the grass gets too long, we got to either double cut it or bag it, both of which double cutting isn't too bad, but bagging it is a real slow process. The challenge is that we're stretched to the limit with our ability to keep up what's expected of us nowadays. These fields get an extreme amount of use. Just to give an example, is that from April to June, the baseball fields are used every night. Baseball, softballs, I mean, there's adult leagues, but there's 500 kids from our community just using baseball. So what we are investing in our fields is substantial. I mean, I will get into the dollar amount in a minute, but I think it has. I think our investment in our fields, in both in fertilizers and time and irrigation, what that does again is creates a lot more maintenance. We kind of it's kind of a cycle here. You feed it, you water it, and then it grows healthy. Then that fact that it's nice and healthy, it invites the insects in to eat the grass. So you got to treat the insects and the mold because you got irrigation going. So after you do all of those things, then you get to cut it. You feed it so that you can cut it, so that you can feed it some more. It's really it's what we need to do to keep with this heavy use that we have. Otherwise, they would be playing on mud. And Liz tells me that she has a tremendous amount of requests to use Raynham fields. So I say that in a point of pride for our employees who do that work, and keep it looking that way. Our budget, our highway budget in salaries is somewhere in the neighborhood of $750,000, and our grounds, the salary for them is $156,000, which represents about 21% of our salary, which goes to park and grounds issues. Our expenses, total highway is around $343,000, and we spend for expenses on fertilizers and insecticides and professional help about $37,000, which is about 10% of our expenses go to park and grounds. We have 3 full-time employees and 5 temporary part-times. However, we haven't had that number for some time. We've had 1 employee out for 2 years, and we're down from 5 down to 3 last year, temporary part-times. Now we're down to probably 2 this spring because I can't afford anymore. So we're going to really struggle keeping up with the mowing demands that are there. And that's something that's not unusual, but it's a way of life. It's a fact of life. I guess when the complaints come in hard enough, we'll have to try to adjust something, but I don't know where the adjustment could be made. We need those employees to put in those seats to make sure that we can keep up with the mowing progress. Is it a good investment? We have approximately 4,700 households in the town, and this comes from old census, so my numbers may be a little one way or the other, but about 3,000 of them have children in them, approximately 2.3 children per household, and about 1,500, almost 1,600 children in those homes use these fields. I think that's a terrific percentage. That's 12% of our population, and it's 68% of our households that are getting advantage of these park and grounds and the park and rec activities. So I think that I just wanted to leave you with that information to think about. There's a lot more to it than what I can give to you in a few minutes. But I think that it requires a little understanding that we're going to have to support them. The equipment's, again, seems like we just bought the mowers, but they're already 10 years old. We're going to have to start replacing some of that stuff. if we want to continue to keep up with that demand and requirements. So do you have any questions in that regards?
Mr. Shiloh, any questions?
Well, I want to come back to this subject of Parker Grounds in a minute, but I want, if you don't mind, to go back to Sunday, because you made it clear, Roger, that whatever is going to happen weather-wise tomorrow, things are in pretty good shape, 6 inches or whatever. So when you're talking about the prospect of not inches but feet of snow on the weekend, what is the situation from your perspective at that level?
Well, I've said this before, and I put it in the snow report that I put out, that really exceeds the capability of the highway department in equipment and time. We have added, since last year, additional trucks, and they definitely will help us. But if we get something like that lasts over 36, up to 40 hours, there's going to be times when we're going to have to rest our employees so they can come back and take another bite of that apple. And in those kinds of events, you can't be ready for, you can't solve all the problems. You're going to have problems that you can't solve. We just have to deal with and keep struggling with.
One of the questions that came to my mind, Roger, is, and I recall your past discussions on this subject, our equipment isn't really the proper equipment to handle 2 feet of snow. I mean, that's kind of the message I got, because we're not equipped for that. So what plans are we working with? Subcontractors? Do we have the equipment? I mean, obviously, if this forecast is in place, as you said, we don't know whether it's going to transpire. But Murphy's Law is, if they predict bad weather, that's probably the thing that's going to happen. So what's the game plan?
Our heavy trucks can handle that snow.
Okay.
The issue with our heavy trucks is that, I mean, and you get the wet snow that we're getting now, it's going to pile up against the curb, and it's not going to be able to move it very, very far than just the curb. The only way you're going to move it over there is you got to go faster. And of course, that's going to throw the snow farther. Heavy snow is going to break more mailboxes, break more fences, those kind of issues. If in fact you travel that fast. So there's some things you have to live with a little bit until we get another shot at it, until weather helps us with the situation. But I mean, I don't envision that we're not going to be able to keep the roads open at all unless we get the blizzard to 7, 8 again.
Okay.
But we're going to struggle. The small trucks, the 1 tons and down, are at that point in time 2 foot of wet snow, or 1.5 foot of wet snow, really are ineffective. They can't push it. I've had my F-350 going down Mill Street already, sitting there chatter, and finally it bit the layer of snow in there and spun the truck around like it was a tinker toy. I'm just darn lucky there's no one coming the other direction. It completely did a 360 on it. That's happened to me a couple times. And it's happened to other people in small trucks trying to do more than the truck is capable of doing. That means you can't park the truck. You still got to try to take a little bite of it and keep working with the problem. That's why we stay with the storm from the beginning to the end. We don't just wait to the end of the storm to try to work it out. We stay with the storm when it starts, and we stay all the way through, because our small trucks can keep taking little bites.
I think that answers a lot of my concern. In other words, by working with the storm as it progresses, you're going to be able to keep up with it with the equipment we have.
I'm very hopeful we are, unless something really crazy happens or we lose some big equipment. But we've also got some contract trucks that are larger. We have 3 in the fleet. I have one I'm doing 104 in Elm Street, up and down. That's all he does. Even though there's redundancy in other trucks taking pieces of 104, this truck is dedicated just to 104. And to me, that was important because it keeps that big corridor open. So that's been helpful. It's a truck big enough to handle that. So I think we'll be okay there.
Okay.
I can't be positive, but I think we will.
Thank you, Roger.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
No other department heads or committees, no appointments tonight, no public hearings, new business, couple tag days that Randy has okayed, if it's okay with you, Mr. Shivo.
Yep. Make a motion that we approve.
So I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Those are approved. Old business, none. Town administrators report, Mr. Buckner.
The grace period for the transfer station has run out. Was selling stickers Fast and Furious during regular hours, and we'll also be selling them this Saturday at the Highway Department. The budget process for FY 2015, as I said last week, the budgets are due February 15th. Bridgewater Raynham budget process is on a different track, though. We may not have a number from them until about mid-March. Mass Gaming Commission should have a decision on the slot parlor license by the first week of March. And in correspondence, we have an applicant for the Board of Overseers, the citizen position. Next Selectmen's meeting, Fire Chief Janice will be in. Sursage meeting has been rescheduled for, and SMHC Board meeting Friday. In Easton, we'll be talking about health insurance rates for next year.
Selectmen's report, Mr. Shiloh. Correspondence is light as Randy says. We have letter of interest from Richard Freeman on Pleasant Street for the Board of Overseers. If it's okay with Mr. Shiver, we'll take it under consideration.
Agreed.
Thank you. We have a request from Cape Cod Hunter Horse Shows looking for April 19, May 3rd, June 14, August 9, and August 16th for their horse shows. And as in previous years, they will utilize Raynham Fire. What is the pleasure?
Make a motion to approve the dates as applied for.
All in favor?
Aye.
That is approved. And that is all we have in correspondence. Press time, Mark, anything for us?
I don't think so.
Okay. No emergency business, seeing no citizen or community is present this evening. What is the pleasure?
Make a motion that we adjourn the meeting and perform our administrative duties.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.